She told me to leave Christina in my car with the windows down because she does it all the time.
And
Were there groceries in the house?
no, sir.
Just the insured drinks?
And I think there was a pitcher of Kool-Aid in there, maybe in the fridge.
You wouldn't be up here if you thought she intentionally did something.
No. I stand by my mom.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. I would say about like around 5, 6 o'clock that afternoon she left.
Anybody else there to take care of Christina?
No, sir.
It was just you? Had you taken care of Christina before?
No, sir.
This was on what day?
The second.
the second.
Yes, sir.
What day was that?
A Friday.
Did you see Rita Pangolin again?
Not until Sunday afternoon.
After she went on a date with Larry, did she say, I'm gone and I'll be back Monday or anything like that?
She said that she texted me later that night to check on Christina. I would say about 9:30, 10 o'clock. And then she said she would be back the next morning on Saturday to go grocery shopping and stuff like that, but she never came. And
Were there groceries in the house?
no, sir.
Just the insured drinks?
And I think there was a pitcher of Kool-Aid in there, maybe in the fridge.
Right. So did she come back the next day?
No,
That would be,
sir.
I guess,
Saturday.
Saturday, correct? Did
Saturday.
she come back Saturday?
No, sir.
Did she call in?
No, sir.
Rita came up to me and had asked me if I could watch her. I had let her know that I had to go into work for a few hours, and she kept asking me over and over. And finally, when the answer didn't change, it was no, obviously, she told me to leave Christina in my car with the windows down because she does it all the time.
Is Elizabeth Clyde, C-L-Y-D-E.
Good morning, Ms. Klein.
Good morning.
If you could, tell the jury a little bit about yourself.
Yes. My name is Elizabeth. I am a high school teacher in the Berkeley County School District, so just about 50 minutes away from Walterboro. I grew up here. I am happily married to my husband, and together we are pastors at Faith Church. We don't have kids yet, but we have a really sweet doggie. And yeah, I'm the daughter of Rita Pangolin.
I was going to say, what's the relationship with Rita?
It's my mom.
And you're how old?
I'm 31. This is when we all went to the aquarium together, and her hair was always a hot mess because she didn't get the good Asian genes like I did, but her hair was always so bad. But this is us at the aquarium. We always try to do anything and everything with Christina.
How would you describe your mom's house? Was it dirty?
No, she was a clean freak.
Did it have food for your sister?
Yes, I stole it often. I stole all her gummies and snacks, and one of the reasons why we got hardwood floors was so Christina could be independent and eat on her own. Like she was able to take bites, very slow bites, and eat and feed herself. So often her favorite was chocolate donuts.
What was going on in that picture?
Well, It was so hard to get her to smile for a picture because she was not photogenic at all. She could swallow so little. That was a big portion of her like nutrients, but she ate chicken, she ate meat. It had to be like small bites, but for because she had a thing where she would drool all the time, so she always got dehydrated. So Pediasure was her main hydration, not really her main source of like nutrients and food.
So there's generally a stack of them in the house.
Yeah,
And with that, as far as you can describe your relationship with your mother. Has that changed at all?
No, we've been together since I was born, and we'll stay together.
And leading up to this tragedy, was there any red flags that you saw, anything that was out of the ordinary?
No, none at all.
I went through the photographs, and I did not see any pictures in the photographs of Larry King. Did you spend any time with your mom when she was with Larry King?
Yes, sir. We went to church together as well, some.
Did you ever spend any time with your mom when she was doing meth?
No, she didn't even drink alcohol.
So you didn't know she used meth?
By use, what do you mean? Like,
Right.
with what I know, her character, that was one of the main reasons why she and my dad got divorced, was because of drugs.
Okay.
And she never used meth or any kind of drugs. I mean, she likes her cigarettes, but she wouldn't even touch alcohol at all.
The house that you talk about, your house, was appropriate for Christina. What about Larry's house?
I've never went to Larry's house.
Okay.
You wouldn't be up here if you thought she intentionally did something.
No, I stand by my mom.
Thank you.
State of South Carolina versus Rita M. Delaney. Indictments number 20, 2019. We, the jury, in the above caption, on the charge of murder of Christina Ann Delaney, find the defendant guilty. Oh my God! Oh my God! We, the jury, in the above captioned case, on the charge of great bodily injury of a child, we find the defendant guilty. Oh my God. We, the jury, in the above captioned case, on the charge of criminal conspiracy, find the defendant not guilty. And it's signed by the foreperson.
Yes.
Signed by the
No,
foreperson.
you don't need to call the name of the foreperson. Signed by the foreperson. Do
Signed
not.
by the foreperson.
Yes.
State of South Carolina versus Larry Eugene King. Indictments 2019 GS 15 00780. 2022 GS 15 00709. And 2022 GS 15 00813. We, the jury, in the above captioned case on the charge of murder of Christina Ann Delaney, find the defendant guilty. We, the jury, in the above captioned case on the charge of great bodily injury on a child, find the defendant guilty. We, the jury, in the above captioned case on the charge of criminal conspiracy, find the defendant not guilty. This is also signed by the foreperson.
Thank you. Madam Fair Lady, and members of the jury, if that is your verdict, please let it be known by raising your right hands to place the child in a burning car, in effect, and walking away is murder. To leave a child in a car for 6 hours under the circumstances that occurred in this case is murder. It's not one of the situations that we see, and there have been studies most recently where people forget believe that they have dropped the child off for daycare and various things. But that's not this situation, where there's absolute, total disregard for the child. Considering that the two of you were there around the car any number of times without doing anything to save this child's life and contributing to the child's death. And all the good things I've heard today, being a teacher, being a concerned person, being a wonderful friend, a person of faith. That wasn't a person there on that day when you all were on this drug binge, at least as described by Mr. King. And I've said it before, that people we see in court are typically not the people that were out on the streets doing the things that landed them in court. And it doesn't get any worse than this as it relates to a mother and a child and a person with the mother dealing with the child. So the offense that you committed was murder, and that's all there is to it. Of course you would love the opportunity to turn back the hands of time, but you can't do it. Of course, you will continue to suffer for what happened to your child, but for being strung out on meth. And I've seen it time and time again. Was it methamphetamine we're dealing with? Yeah. But for methamphetamine and dealing with it, neither of the two of you would be here. But those were decisions that you all made. And to the extent your minds were just totally contorted, and I don't know the minds of a person on meth, but I paid close attention to the witness who testified convincingly about the effects of methamphetamine on the brain. It's as if you didn't have a brain on that day at that time. And, we're hearing about this mistake and bad judgment and all the, I see it all the time with children, people who we deal with all the time. I call them children, 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds, people who do these same types of things, kill people because they're strung out on drugs, high on drugs. And, a life sentence for them is more than the lifespan that you're talking about, because they're going to prison at ages 20, 21, 22, 23 for life. And you don't have the excuse that they might come in here with. Of course, none of it is acceptable, but they will come in strung out on drugs, parents strung out on drugs, all kinds of things that play into them going wayward, going astray. And for you, a person who had a good reputation in the community, to throw it away chasing drugs, and then coming and asking me for leniency? And I'm trying to balance who's more at fault here, really. Mr. King or Ms. Panalangam. I mean, it's almost a toss-up. Mr. King put the child in the car and, per the video, just didn't care anything about the child. Just left the child there to die while they're pursuing each other. It's just so, it's almost unbelievable. How could you all do such a thing? And you could do such a thing because you're hooked on drugs, hooked on meth. Yeah, that makes you having less an excuse, less justification. Your mind wasn't screwed up as you're telling us now. Yeah, a mother who's not under the influence would leave their child in a car under those circumstances for 5-6 hours, who knew the child was in the car and knew the child had been in the car for that period of time, and drive off and leave the child. How could you? Anything further? It doesn't help me clarify in my mind who is the most culpable out of this situation, or are they equally culpable? Whose conduct was the most extreme? The mother who abandons her child in that setting and does nothing to rescue the child, who chooses Mr. King and her own pleasure over the child, or Mr. King, who throws the child, or he didn't throw it, places the child in the back of the car and shows no concern, compassion, or anything for the child, and in effect joins with the mother in the treatment of the child. Though it wasn't his child, he initiated his role in it when he placed the child in the back of the car, and when he did nothing to get the child out of the car.
On behalf of Mr. King, in response to your Honor's
Yes, sir.
inquiry,
Yes, sir.
all my dealings with him and all my...
Mr. King is sentenced to the court on the offense of murder, that you be committed to the State Department of Corrections for a period of 32 years. Great bodily injury, the sentence is 20 years. Sentences will run concurrent with credit for any time that you've already served.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you all. Ms. Panalangam, a lot of folks have said a lot of good things about you and a lot of positive impacts that you've made on their lives. You're not being sentenced to death. You won't be facing a firing squad or a gas chamber or electric chair. Your life goes on, but it'll go on behind bars, and you'll still have that same opportunity to make a positive impact on the lives of other people who you encounter, and I hope you do that. I simply cannot fathom a mother treating a child the way that you did and allowing that to happen to a child, to your child, the child that you birthed. Yeah. I don't know if the child at some point became a burden. I don't know what the circumstances were that would lead you to placing the child in that situation. And as if you left and went to Atlanta, Georgia, or maybe we'll say not Charleston, to Myrtle Beach, and went there and got in the beach in the water a few hours, and then came back, and then decided that it's a frantic situation. You did it. You have to live with it. And as bad as the conduct of Mr. King was, yours was worse, in my mind. And, you know, you can talk about intent where you have rational thinking minds, but extreme recklessness brought upon by drugs and alcohol. As we said, intoxication is not a defense and not an excuse. That's what, in effect, you're asking, and it's not. Sentence of the court is that you be committed to the State Department of Correction for a period of 37 years on murder, 20 years on great bodily injury. Sentences will run concurrent, and you will receive credit for time served. Do we have the number of days of credit that they're entitled to?
39.
Receive credit for 39 days. And Mr. King, do we know how many days he gets credit for? Did Mr. other guy left, the lawyers?